I'm Emily Hiner. I am a ceramic artist and currently studying at Cornell College, getting my bachelor's in studio art. So I feel with the senior exhibition, if I'm able to pull it off and, exactly put what's in my mind out there for my viewers and audience to see, I think it will be a big stepping stone. Well, with my work, I hope to kind of continue on a legacy of my mentor. Ultimate dream would be to have my own commercial space where the front half would be a gallery of all items that I have made and along with other artists, where the other half of the building would be where I would have a studio space and I would work on and just make and be able to sell these things, but then also provide classes for anybody in the community, or to do one-on-one sessions with somebody who may, just kind of need that time to talk and make art, and to have just that official business and be able to live off of it would be the dream. So getting to actually clay from like dust to a finished product, there's just so much that goes into it, and I think why I enjoy it so much is that it's taking all these different elements and you make a beautiful thing of art. And that is pretty much it. It'll get thicker and thicker and thicker, so until it gets to consistency, but I'll save the materials and put whatever is left of this back in that bucket. Whew. So I'm gonna wedge, and it's just getting all the air pockets out of the piece, but it's all about flattening it out a little bit better first. I like to use my slabs for pressing into plaster molds to make fun little 3D details. Here. Just nobody ever turns it on. We use the canvas to kind of suck up any of the moisture that the clay will excrete. That way it's not just a big old sticky mess. The big metal cylinder is just compressing all that clay down and making it one even thickness. And then you have a lovely looking slab. Alright, first I'm gonna scrape it just so I can pop any air bubbles that might be in it. And then smooth it out, which is always very satisfying. Cut off parts, just kind of miscellaneous. Use cornstarch sock. So working and doing tile work, you can actually do your own backsplashes for your kitchen or for sometimes bathroom. Tiles. A lot of people will just buy like simple bathroom tiles and or they'll buy those vinyl release sticky things. Now let's move them over to this board. But I think it's a lot more fun line them up on a handmade level because you can choose your own colors, your own designs. You can kind of get funky with the shapes that you decide to cut out, and then making sure that they kind of all dry together next to each other so they don't warp that way, and they know they just kind of fit nice and snug. And then recently got this new cookie cutter. It's not as strong as the other one, but I thought I'd use it to make test tiles for some of my underglaze colors, which are like paint, to create extra detail on some of these pieces, so I can paint whatever color I want on there and apply a clear glaze to it and see how it comes out at different temperature levels. I've only seen some colors at lower temperatures, and I've seen other colors at super high ones, but I've never seen it at mid-range, which is what we fire to here, which is about 2200 degrees. And so higher the temperature, the more the pigment and the color can fade out. And before I, finally do glazing and decide on my colors, I would like to see what they would look like at that temperature before I just go applying them. And then they turn out like trash. Using graphic design and our 3D printer in our academic technology studio, I was able to make these design stamps, and I had the idea of just pressing each time, but that was gonna take a whole lot of time to do and probably wouldn't capture all the details, and I'd be taking clay out of this thing all the time. So using my mold making knowledge, I pressed and I made the best little stamps I could, placed them down on just a plain wood bat, and I poured plaster all over them, and then I took the clay out one by one, and I can take slabs, and we'll go for that one. I don't know what exactly this thing is, I just kind of made it. It suited my purpose. Just squishing into all the possible nooks and crannies, and I can get rid of the excess if needed. Ooh. Compress it down with your finger. Scrape away excess. Rib. And then use the neat little trick of grabbing some clay and suctioning it out. And then I'd have a perfect little stamp each time. And that's basically it for now. The slip will absorb into the plaster and it will start to sink, so I'll have to pour a little bit back in and then we'll come back to it and then I can dump it out. I usually let it set for about 20 minutes. Yep, that's really it for now. It's just waiting time. Get out this bucket and then lovely Houdini trick of shaking it and dumping it out of the mold and tapping the top to make sure all the excess strips come out. Stay in there, my friend. And then pick them up, move this, flip them back and shake. That way everything just kind of levels out a bit. And that's it. We can go downstairs because I think I'm going to demold it downstairs. We have the air compressor. And throw it on the floor. Tip it upwards. Yeah! Let's see if I can get the rest of it out. Surprisingly. Oof. That one just wanted to fly off. And the bottom is always the trickiest part. Teeth wrinkle. I'm gonna walk over to the air compressor with him. And that's it. Loud noise.
Boom, 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 boom. Desço a ladeira, vou na praia, vou no parque, vou na cachoeira, vou na capoeira, vou de ginga e queixada sem tomar rasteira. Desço a ladeira, vou na praia, vou no parque, vou na cachoeira, vou na capoeira, vou de ginga e queixada sem tomar rasteira. Vou na brincadeira, vou na roda, vou no samba, vou tomar a saideira. De qualquer maneira, um cavaco e viola, vou na brincadeira. Desço a ladeira, vou na praia, vou no parque, vou na cachoeira, vou na capoeira, vou de ginga e queixada sem levar rasteira.
Which side is it? Dang it. That's the front. Scoliosis. Actually have that up on me. It's all about creating the attachment, but also making sure I have enough weight in the back to keep it on there. And then, of course, I'll need to get some clay and just to hold his teeth up while it sets.
O cavaco e viola vão na brincadeira. Desço a ladeira, vou na praia, vou no parque, vou na cachoeira. Vou na capoeira, vou de ginga e queixada, se leva rasteira. Desço a ladeira, vou na praia, vou no parque, vou na cachoeira. Vou na capoeira, vou de ginga e queixada, sem tomar rasteira. Vou na brincadeira, vou na roda, vou no samba, vou tomar a saideira. De qualquer maneira, cavaco e viola, vou na brincadeira.
And then this is pretty much what I'll be doing for a hot second for a little while. Just making sure everything's joined nicely.
Vou na praia, vou no parque, vou na cachoeira. Vou na capoeira, vou de ginga e queixada, sem tomar rasteira. Vou na brincadeira, vou na roda, vou no samba, vou tomar a
And maybe that's not where the human spine connects to the head, but that's okay. I just always found bones to be really interesting. And
vou na brincadeira, vou na brincadeira. Vou na brincadeira, vou na brincadeira.
I'm Emily Hiner. I am a ceramic artist and currently studying at Cornell College, getting my bachelor's in studio art. I'm gonna throw this down in the middle and pat it. And then a ton of water in the center. More water and cone upwards. More water, cone down. And I can tell there's a massive air pocket in here, but I've learned to roll with it. Back up. For me, ceramics or pottery or just working in clay is therapeutic or healing. Back down. I get to make something, an actual artwork, something that will outlive me, but then being able to give it to somebody else or to gift it onto somebody or make it in memory of somebody else. One more time. And it goes to a home and has a purpose or has a special meaning behind it. It could make somebody else's day. It could be, just major significance, but just for my piece to have a function and maybe to help somebody else smile or just to feel better. And then it just also makes me feel better knowing that, this little guy has a home. Water, open it a bit further, take my needle tool. It's still really thick. I'm gonna go a bit more. And then I'm gonna open it to the width I want it to be at the base. I'm gonna compress the bottom so I don't get cracks. Everything's just kind of nicely smashed down. And then start pulling some walls, so going upwards. Something handcrafted versus the commercially made products. I think the reason why handmade is so much more significant. More water. I'm gonna make the base a bit skinnier, so I'm gonna squeeze. That person put time, money, resources into making whatever it is that they end up making for you. I always add a personal touch whenever I do it, but handmade work I don't know, just always, it just shows somebody that they care and they took the time to do so. Oh, where are you, rib? Here's my favorite rib. We'll get that wet. I'm gonna belly out the middle here. Move that and come back up just a little bit. Got plenty of thickness at the top, and then my favorite part, one of my favorite parts I should say, I like all of it. I'm gonna grab my torch. This makes it just a little bit more stiff and hold its shape. And that way I can kind of work on the top without the bottom. I don't have to worry about it collapsing, so I can use my fingers and do tiny pulls. Make the neck just a bit more dramatic, I'll collar it in. And I'll pull again. Now that my top's really uneven, I'm going to take my needle tool and cut off the top so we have a nice even top. Clear off some of the gut on the outside. The feelings that I encounter while I'm throwing can be a range. Some days it's just not a good day at all and pieces just keep flopping and I could get really frustrated. But other days I could make, X, Y, Z or amount of pieces and I feel pretty good about myself. I feel, successful, and I feel like I made progress on something today, or I was efficient, especially if it's a form I've been struggling with, or if it's a piece that's really, really big, because I like doing all sorts of work on the wheel, and I like to expand my skills. So when I get to those achievements, it just makes you feel good. Again. Water, fling some on myself, cut it off, and then I'm going to move it up here to this board. And that's it. Well, with my work, I hope to kind of continue on a legacy. This piece is going to come down. Of my mentor. And all the other instructors that I've had over the years. Just make sure that this is centered. Because I've learned different things from every single one of them. And to carry that on in my making, that would be hopefully to make them proud. But then to hopefully have my own future business where it would be a gallery space and a studio space. As my mentor once had. That would be the ultimate dream or outcome for my pieces and kind of their significance. So, starting off, the very first one I had was Angela White. She was the first person who introduced me to throwing on the wheel, and it was before I even met her in high school that she taught me how to throw and really built my confidence over the high school years once I got there. And she introduced me to her mother, Maria, who I'd say is my top mentor. Moving on to college, I don't like change. I don't think anybody likes change, but moving on to college, I didn't want to leave her, but then I met Zach Wallert, and he really helped me expand in my wheel throwing techniques. He taught me, different things about firing and firing up to higher temperatures, and introducing me to work that you can put into the dishwasher or microwave, which is so nice instead of having to hand wash all the time. But then wood firing and making your own tools and using them in your work, and super happy for him. He's now the chair of ceramics at the Arkansas Museum of Art. Then I got to meet Amethyst Warrington, and she really goes into fine detail with her work. She makes these beautiful flowers, and she taught us so much sculptural technique, and I never really did care for sculpting all that much, but I've gained a new appreciation because of it. So she was wonderful to have as the last kind of mentor teacher at Kirkwood. And then now coming into Cornell for my last years of college, Susanna Biondo Jamel, she is the head of the art department, and she's my advisor, and then of course my overseeing professor for my student senior exhibition. She's been incredibly motivating of my work and some of the projects I've decided to take on, and has pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and to try new things with wheel throwing or application of glaze, or not everything has to be 100% perfect, that it's okay to have some flops or whatever in your work, or some imperfections. And she's just been a big supporter and motivator. During high school, we'd have Thursday night art nights, and so every single Thursday night I'd go and throw on the wheel, and anybody could work on whatever they wanted to work on. My high school art teacher, Angela White, she was working on a personal project or maybe a commission for somebody else, and so she had her mom come in, and that was my very first time ever meeting her. And she was thrown on the wheel, and this woman was about maybe 4 foot tall, Italian, sassy woman, super sweet, and I'm thrown on the wheel, she's thrown on the wheel across from me, and we just started talking, and I just fell in love with her personality. She had a lot of sass, but a lot of sweetness. It wasn't until almost to my senior year of high school that my high school instructor, Angela, she said, "You know what, if you missed this over the summer, you need to come to my mom's shop in Monticello and continue working." So I took her up on it. I went over to her shop, and it was gorgeous. All the work was in the front. I think it was an old automobile garage, yes, but totally transformed it. The back space where they'd work on the cars and have all the jacks, that's where the studio was. And then in front was all the gallery with all the lovely work. And I remember walking in, and she comes around the corner, 4 foot tall person. She comes over, gives me the biggest squeeze, and she's like, "Finally, you're here." And I just started working that summer, and she taught me some tricks on the wheel, and she taught me some of her techniques in sgraffito, which is Italian for to carve into clay. So sgraffito is a surface decoration technique that she really thrived in. And she taught me how to carve flowers into surfaces, because that was something I always found extremely neat about her work, and helped me once again just kind of push me to do what I wanted to do. And as I got to know her more, the more comfortable we got, and I got to see more of her true personality come out. And one of the things that I think will be forever what I remember in my mind, she would take commissions for anything. She got off the phone and she's just saying, gosh darn it. She used different words, but Angela's in the back and she's like, what? She said, well, I just got a call from a couple that need their urns made. I'm like, well, isn't that a good thing? It's a commission, right? And she said, no, but they're morbidly obese. So that means that this one's gonna have to be this big, and then this one's gonna have to be this big. I just don't have time for that. So that was funny as well. But her business ran, she sold her work, she made work, she sold it. She did that for the longest time. She was a very independent businesswoman. She would also have people come in who had mental and physical disabilities, and that was a huge thing for me because that's primarily my friend group. But just to come in and have them make what they wanted to, and for them to feel confident in themselves, that's what I really enjoyed about her and her work. She was 72 when I met her, and over the years, I think she smoked her entire life. She also was always around like ceramic dust, and that can cause serious damage to the lungs. But she still was her spunky self. She was diagnosed with COPD in 2019, I want to say, and so she had to go on a breathing machine. She had a transportable one, but she never liked it. She never wanted to wear it. She smoked with it on her, but but she was trooper about it, still her sassy self. And towards the end of her life, I had a showing at a gallery, and I talked with Angela and I said, please, if she's not doing well today, she doesn't have to come. She came over to me and she said, can you stop crying? She said, I'm not dead. I'm here. I'm here to enjoy your show and all your lovely work. And of course, that made me cry more. And then she just grabbed me and said, stop. And that was wonderful to see her that night, and she made me a piece that I keep and truly, truly treasure. And about 2 months afterwards, she passed. I don't want to do what she did. That's the real goal with all this. And it's been challenging along the way. It's always a running joke like, oh, you're an artist, so do you eat, or where you live in a dumpster? And there's been some challenging aspects to figure out. Like, a time in high school, I was diagnosed with anxiety, and I would shake a lot, and I wouldn't be able to make a lot of things on the wheel, and that just shattered me. But made it through that. Once I made it to Kirkwood, there was another instructor, and I will not name them, who told me, you really can't do this and you can't make it in ceramic arts. And that was crushing. Still kind of recovering from that. But it wasn't until I got here that Susanna, my current professor, has repeatedly told me over and over again that this is something that I can do and it is achievable. It is something that I really do want to do and try to bring back and hopefully build on, and not be better, but just to continue that legacy. After college, hoping eventually develop my own studio space and start making and selling a bit more, but then having an actual commercial location. That would be everything, and to teach any person that decides to come in whatever they want to try to achieve or to make or to do commission work, and just to be able to live off of that, I think would be the ideal dream. So with this senior exhibition, I really wanted to work on functional, utilitarian, things that you use every single day. And I had already did a project last year where I made over 200 mugs, and it was a real, confidence booster, and I felt really good about it and had a good sale and a lot of supporters. And so I feel like with this exhibition, I could really expand upon it. So I pushed myself to do sculptural pieces, stuff with just a little bit more detail, more using different non-traditional techniques, such as using 3D printing and mold making, and but all of it to come together to make one piece that serves a purpose. And whether it's a piece to put your flowers in, or something you just throw your keys into to drink out of, or to hold your toothpaste in the morning. It could be anything, but to create something that everybody could have a purpose and use for. And so with my exhibition space being kind of like that future dream of having a commercial side and a studio side, to have all these things that people could come in and use and potentially find a function for is ideally what I'm striving for. So I've seen a lot of people benefit from making art in general, and with me being really fulfilled creating along the way, I've been able to help others, make these small breakthroughs. Or we just had a utilitarian ceramics class downstairs last block, and I got to help a lot of the students when I had free time, and for them to have those little milestones of successes and like, oh my gosh, I actually made something that's, not this sideways, and oh my gosh, this actually holds liquid. For them to open up the kilns and be excited about what came out, that just gave me excitement in a way, and for people to feel confident and happy in what they're doing, and for them to, be like, look at what I just made, I'm pretty dang proud of this. It just makes me feel good to see somebody else feel good. This piece, I guess you could say, was kind of therapeutic in a way to make. It was a pain in the butt to make, but therapeutic. Can't remember which summer, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, had to have my wisdom teeth taken out, and I'm a weirdo, and I said, hey, can I keep them? Because you pay a lot for just ripping 4 teeth out of somebody's mouth. And they're like, yeah, sure. My mom thought it was gross. Then I decided to cast them in plaster, and I made a little press mold where you just press clay into them. And there's about 501 individual teeth stuck on that bowl, and I just, because I had an abscess that was going up to my brain after the first surgery, like that was nearly healed, and then they found that, so I had to go back in. And then after that healed for a couple weeks, and they found a bone fragment in my jaw that they forgot to take out. So it was very, very traumatic, so I figured I'd make a piece to contribute. So I like that it's a tactile piece, but it was also just a nice thing to, get rid of all the hateful memories of the oral surgeon. This was the very first piece I ever threw. It's uneven in walls. I trimmed through the bottom. It's patched with clay. It's very streaky, and but I kind of like it the way it is. But I remember I was pretty dang happy with that. I'm like, look how tall it is.